Hello and welcome to The Harbor, the most patrician podcast on the internet. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy, the king of all Kino. I'm here with Scott, the expat. He's here. We're kind of queer, and we're going to be talking about Bond and any other shit that we've been talking about, but probably mostly Bond because I did this weird thing when No Time to Die came out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to catch up on all these. I'd only seen Casino Royale once and Skyfall once, hadn't seen the others. I was like, I'll just marathon them before the movie comes out. And then I put it off and I put it off. And then the day came and I was like, I'll just watch all of them right now before the movie. So I watched.
So you watched all 5 Daniel Craig Bond movies in one day.
In one day.
Your cinematic stamina is impressive and also, quite frankly, disgusting.
I know. It's kind of beautiful, kind of not. But I'm here to come with my findings.
Right. I've seen, because I had the DVD when I was younger. I was in like middle high school when Casino Royale came out. It's weird because he's the longest running Bond by a fairly wide margin, I think.
What?
Daniel Craig, right?
By years or by movies?
By years.
Okay.
Not by movies. Just because there's takes longer to make a movie now with special effects and stuff. Or he's up there. He may not be the longest, but he's up there. He's more like Roger Moore or something, I'm sure. But I've seen Casino Royale 5, 6, 7 times at least because I had it on DVD.
That was like one of the movies to watch back then. Yeah,
it was one of the movies to watch. It was new. It was edgy. Hollywood hadn't overdone the gritty reboot thing.
Bond actually was just getting started.
Casino Royale helped kickstart that and Batman Begins, I would say.
Yeah,
which came out, I think, both 2005, 6,
2005, and then 2006, and also you had the Bourne Identity or whatever.
And Bourne Identity,
that was
that's not really a reboot, but that was kind of like the gritty spy thriller.
Yeah. But it's like it was like those kinds of movies, and then of course in 2008, The Dark Knight like cemented that trend.
Yeah,
like fully.
Sure. And I'm glad we had that trend. We needed that trend, when it happened.
Yeah.
And now things I think have swung back around, gotten marvelized a bit more, a lot more.
They've swung so far around that I'm sick of every movie having to like wink at the camera about what they're doing instead of just embracing it full on, which is something we've discussed in this podcast plenty of times.
We have. How much, very briefly, does Carnage wink at the audience or not, or is it just a fun?
No, it embraces what it is without being like a
Yeah, that's cool. Embrace that you're fun without winking. Like, don't feel apologetic for being fun. Just be fun. It's fine. Yeah. That's all you need. Okay, it's not out in Spain yet, so I haven't seen it. Comes out October.
That's okay.
15th. We're recording.
Yeah. Over the last week, I also saw Let There Be Carnage. The first Venom didn't grip me. It was I like the novelty of that. It felt like a film from 2004 that was like shelved for like 15 years or something. That had kind of a novelty to it. But I was like, there's a few good scenes in here. I like some of it, but whatever. Moving on. And then Venom 2 came out, and suddenly I had the urge to see it. I was like, well, Andy Serkis directed it. Let's see what he's like as a director. And what he did was cut all the fat and just gave us a 95-minute ridiculous, silly, stupid, fun fest of ridiculous
carnage.
Carnage, yeah. It's pretty much like it's a gay rom-com, pretty much like that's what it is. And it has Woody Harrelson as a really trashy, gross villain, which I like.
Cletus Cassidy, bro.
It's just like
you said it's one of the best superhero movies you've seen.
Yeah,
you said it's better than Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it's way more entertaining than Shang-Chi to me because it's just, I don't know, it's fun.
It has directorial vision.
It's just straight to the point.
Yeah, and maybe we'll talk about that more in a different podcast. But for Bond, I haven't seen Quantum of Solace, which is not that important if you're watching this film. Casino Royale, Skyfall, Spectre are definitely more important. Especially Spectre was very important.
It was almost a direct sequel to Spectre in a lot of ways.
And Bond has not always been this serialized by any stretch of the imagination,
which I was cool with.
Well, I'm cool with it, and we'll talk more about the future of Bond. You've seen some older Bond movies.
I've only seen one No, I've
Oh,
only
you've
seen one.
only seen one? What, Dr. No?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I watched
So
that this past year too.
I've seen I think Pierce Brosnan, The World Is Not Enough, but it was like on TV as a kid and I never watched it. And then other Pierce Brosnan, when I was growing up, he was Bond, Goldeneye, all that. So I saw some of it on TV, but I actually wasn't allowed to watch it because there
Yeah,
was sex and stuff in it. So I didn't grow up watching Bond. So it really
same
wasn't
thing.
until, yeah. And I wasn't really until Daniel Craig that I was into it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, especially after rewatching Skyfall, watching Spectre in the same day, that's enough for me. That's still like 5 hours of movies. I'm not watching like 12 hours of Bond like you are. But and then watching this like 2 days later, I'm pretty full on the Bond train. I dug this movie. I dig James Bond as a character. I I want to see, you can do whatever you want with him. I want a British guy, not an American actor with a British accent. I want a British guy. He's kind of Scottish in this, so it's controversial, but not English. But I want him going in exotic locations and banging women in a fashion that is questionable to my feminism, and just killing dudes.
Well,
Preferably Soviets.
yeah, I definitely grew up not being able to watch Bond because suburban moms are afraid of sex.
Same.
So I never saw any of them. And yeah, Casino Royale was my first James Bond movie. Now it's funny because I would play and watch other kids play like GoldenEye and like other
I couldn't
Bond
play
games.
Goldeneye.
The one on the GameCube,
Oh, Nightfire. That game's dope.
and yeah, you can shoot people with a controller, but can't watch a guy,
Yeah,
happen.
you can kill people, but titties, God forbid. Not even
Yeah,
titties, side boob, God
yeah,
forbid.
side boob. Um, yeah, the first one, Doctor No, I went in expecting 60s, kind of not generic, but like it's what you know influenced everything. So
Right.
I
It's
wasn't that into it.
the trope setter. I think once you get into Goldfinger and some of the other Connery Bonds,
Yeah,
it
I
gets
heard some of them
well.
right after it are a lot better, but what it reminded me of was like all of the human subplots in Godzilla with that level of like interesting, except there's no kaiju fights. So it's like, okay, well, I like Connery's attitude and his character and stuff.
Yeah,
And
he's a charming dude
but
and
it
he
was just
created the
like,
character, but
man, some of this just doesn't hold up to me. But that's okay. I'd
no,
like to
and
give
that's Daniel Craig's Bond exists because the old Bond doesn't hold up in a
yeah.
lot of ways. He is that absolutely pure male power fantasy.
And I'm
And
I'm glad that it survived through this arc we've had with online feminism evolving in different ways. And for a
I am
while,
too.
it was
And I
like for
think
a
it's
while people were like, well, is this weird now, is this problematic, and then we got over that and I was like, no, things can be things that they want to be without it being, we can have that little fantasy and have other movies with
right.
other
And
characters.
because you have people like Vesper Green and Casino Royale is widely considered to be one of the best, if not the best, Bond girl because she's so complex and also beautiful, but and
Yeah.
equal for Bond, in some ways, intellectually and emotionally. Um, so I think it's good, that they went through that and the franchise evolved in a way that doesn't feel pandering, which is important.
Yeah.
I feel like it evolved very naturally, even between movies, even from Casino Royale to this, it felt like it evolved.
Well, it's interesting because like in the early 2010s, if you were to suggest that Bond should be played by like a woman or something, everyone would be like, oh yes, that's what we need, that has to happen, this and that, equality. And then now we've, you know as a whole, I feel like we've matured. And now I saw on the internet a lot of people when Daniel Craig was asked if the next Bond should be a woman, and he's like, it's okay for them to be, James Bond to be a man. And then what we need to do is create iconic roles for women like this, and James Bond,
Right.
yeah. And I was like, and I didn't see anyone fighting over it. Everyone was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, because you don't, the arguably the problem with that is because I do think there should be more representation for women in movies, more women directors. There's no, was it? There's no roles in Hollywood for women over 50. Certainly no complex roles. And if you're an actress
Yeah.
over 50, like why would you? Some of those roles is like, why would you want that role? You're nothing, You could be an A-lister, and it's like the only role for you is side characters or grandmas or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you're Judi Dench, I guess. But
who fucking kicks ass in these movies.
Judi Dench is so good. She got kind of retired out because she got old in Skyfall, but I do think that make new characters. The problem is people don't want to make a new franchise. And let's be honest, even if the movie is great, it ain't going to make James Bond money. Everybody in the world knows who James Bond is. And that's why.
That's the problem with everything now.
Is that, this is franchise, which is that's the intersection of like progressive politics and capitalism, which what are you going to do? Because it's going to exist.
But also to mirror,
I'm totally cool. Maybe he's aged out of it a bit now. Totally cool with Idris Elba being Bond or some other.
Yeah, everyone wants Idris Elba being Bond except for him. He's like, no, I'm good. Which disappointed me and a lot of people. I was like, okay, you would have been.
I think he's already rich and doesn't want like a 9-movie commitment or something.
But the fun part,
he just has to be English. That's all I give a crap about.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was like what I was saying is that everyone agreeing that yeah, James Bond can be, stay a man. There's nothing wrong with that. But then it was like he was saying this during interviews for No Time to Die, but the whole time he knew that this movie was like a big part of the movie is that while he's been out of the game, there's been a new 007 and it's a black female, operative. And so like that's kind of cool. It's like
that's their way of addressing it. And she's a good character in her own right.
Yeah.
She's not,
she has respect for like the history behind. Yeah. There's some like a little like self-aware, like she has, respect for like the history of, his role as the operative. Anyway.
He's James freaking Bond, bro. I would love, because I love trolling conservatives and racists. I would love them to get like an Indian British or Pakistani British James Bond just to piss off racist anti-immigration.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, dude. That was the thing. It's like, yes, there is pandering and virtue signaling with casting these days in certain projects, but often enough, it's not. It's just like, people of color exist too. It's not,
Well, yeah,
and we're casting people now. So now it's really delightful to see people get so fucking pissed off. Except for when it's not funny, like people being racist.
Kelly Marine.
I was gonna say Finn when he was cast a black stormtrooper. That's the horrible shit. It's like they're not clones, dummy. But let's turn this into a
actually. If you read the lore, let's not get back into Star Wars.
No, let's get away from Star Wars as fast as we can. Yeah. So I hadn't seen Skyfall or Casino Royale since I was younger.
Last time I saw Skyfall was with you in theaters.
Yeah. So Casino Royale was like awesome to see fresh because I hadn't seen it since I was a teenager, and obviously my movie deciphering has advanced since then. And it was cool to see like this smaller scale Bond film where it's very character focused and just not over the top. What I like about these Craig Bonds is that they're not about like for the most part an evil genius trying to take over the world with like this master plan. It's like usually focused on people just trying to get money. And that's why I like the escalation of Craig's Bonds. By the time it gets to No Time to Die and it does have the evil villain with the lair and all this stuff, it makes sense because it gradually increased in scale up to this point. And so I was happy about that. And I was like, okay, we get one of these Bonds to be like a classic, like, you know,
And that was this
infiltrate.
one. This felt like a love letter to James Bond as a character and the fans. And we'll go more into fan service later.
Yeah.
But no, by the end of this, it was full on because we got Blofeld, the classic villain in the last one.
Yeah.
And by this one, we got that's Christoph Waltz's character. But this one, excuse me, we got Rami Malek going full Bond villain. I mean,
Yeah,
full
like, no.
megalomaniacal.
Yeah.
I'm almost not even sure of his motivation, which we'll talk later.
That's the biggest problem for me with that movie.
That's the biggest problem with this movie, probably for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So we open up on this movie, and it's great watching Spectre a couple of days before because not only does Bond get the girl in Spectre, the last movie, but he gets to keep the girl, which I feel like is not, that doesn't happen with Bond. And part of the tragedy of that, and probably the brilliance of this character is in this current incarnation, is their acknowledgement of his PTSD and his lifestyle and his inability to have a regular life and the emptiness of that power fantasy. Which is especially prevalent in the books, by the way. I don't know. There's apparently in the book Casino Royale, there's one poker game where it mentions like he drank a carafe of vodka and smoked 50 cigarettes. It's like how could he do anything? He wouldn't be able to get out of bed, let alone chase down supervillains. What are you talking about? Because that's what it is. And also one thing I was thinking about during this movie is they're obviously not to this scale, Hollywood scale, but there are people whose job it is to be a secret agent or to be special forces and kill people and do stuff not too dissimilar from this, which is insane. You know, we could link you to Jocko Willink's podcast or whatever, that guy. I don't know if you know him. I'm talking about just like killing people. And like, okay, try to marry that guy.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, you're just waiting for everything to go south because he can't have anything. New Bond can't keep anything ever.
Yeah,
that's the one constant.
And we were talking about how these Craig Bonds are serialized, and it's interesting because if you haven't seen any of them up to this point, you're not going to understand why he drops what I can't remember her name.
Vesper?
No, I'm saying Vesper, the one Bond not the one Bond. Yeah, well, the one Bond film where he like completely lowers his guard, gets rid of his masculine whatever, and like allows himself to fall in love with this woman, and then she betrays him at the end of Casino Royale, and it's very detrimental, and he spends the entire next movie trying to get over it. And so of course when shit goes awry in No Time to Die, he drops the woman he's in love with like a hat because he doesn't want to get hurt again.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And they build it up. It's not.
Yeah.
And the character Madeline is a fully fleshed out character, and you care about her not just in relation to Bond.
Right.
This is why it works so much, because we've gotten to know her over the course of 2 movies.
Also, let's talk about how ridiculously cruel it is to have you. That means you had henchmen go into Vesper's grave and plant explosives. Like, that's fucking horrible, dude.
It's insane. The way the villains just screw with Bond for revenge, especially over the last 2 movies. And I guess you had a little bit of Silva Javier Bardem in Skyfall do this with Judi Dench's M, but specifically Blofeld, Christoph Waltz in the last movie, and a bit in this one, and then Rami Malek in this one. It's absolute torture. He's an absolute tortured, broken man by the end of this franchise.
Yeah.
Who somehow still is able to just fuel his rage, but it's very well acted. I feel like this might be I haven't seen Casino Royale in years, but there's a couple scenes in here which we'll get to where Daniel Craig, I feel like, really gets to show his acting chops. And
Well,
just
I mean, we don't have to go in direct order. Get to him. Like what
there's a
stood out to you?
couple. One, I didn't expect. First of all, I didn't expect to tear up in this movie. Spoilers, by the way.
No one
I mean,
did.
We're getting in it. And no, nobody did. It's James Bond. And you'll enjoy this movie if you haven't seen the other Bonds. You'll be able to figure it out. I'm sure you can watch a YouTube summary if you want to. I would just recommend watching them all. But there's a point where he is talking to Madeline, and he chases her to that cabin, and he sees that kid. But it's right before he sees the kid, and he's talking to her, and he has that monologue where he's saying, all the pain I've endured, everything that's led me to you in my life, even to this moment, has been worth it. And you just think about like at this point, 5 movies of just like getting shot and beat up and blown up, and him just being, and his lovers dead or run off, not being able to have a normal life, and him just saying it was all worth it because I got to meet you. That's incredibly heavy and earned. It's earned over.
You compare that to how cold of a killer he is in Casino Royale at the first good portion of the movie, and just how he's just doing what he's been told, and now
he's doing it for England.
Yeah, you do it now. You compare that to now. It's actual good growth. And I'm thankful for it.
It's great. And James Bond is one of the greatest, most famous cinema characters ever. If you did top 10 most famous cinema characters, he'd be on there easily. Internationally famous. Again, if you don't know, live in Spain, and like that theater for an English show at 8 on a Tuesday was like half that theater was packed, And I looked at other theaters that were closer to the center of the city, and I didn't have a good seat, so I had to go farther out.
Yeah.
So people are enjoying it. They're not even native English speakers, and it's not that far. We're not that far from the UK. It's like a 2-hour flight, but still, it's good to see, and it's good to be back in the movies. And people were genuinely affected. The end of the movie, everything that goes on there. I teared up. The girl next to me was tearing up. It was. There were onions in that cinema.
Yeah. Because obviously the we all knew going in it was Daniel Craig's last Bond. That's how they advertised it. So I was kind of expecting. I was like, they're probably going to kill them off. It'll be ballsy, but I bet it could happen.
It didn't surprise me, but it was still. Here's the thing. I think that's a testament to how earned it was, that you kind of expect it, but it still punches you in the gut.
Well, yeah, because with this franchise is classy enough to where that he's gonna die and he's gonna stay dead. It's not gonna be some switcheroo like, oh, let's bring him back, it just felt like you see him get obliterated. Like there's no way out of it.
No, there's no way. They're like, he's dead. There's no ambiguity whatsoever. He gets full on like Dragon Ball Z, like every pixel of his body just going into oblivion.
Yeah.
Just Kim Jong Un in the what's that movie called? James Franco and
that one.
And
that one, I think. Yeah.
The Interview. Yes. Like getting blown up.
It's not egregious, but
no, it's not. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
It's very tasteful.
Yeah. The James Bond having a kid is somehow just like a plot point I just didn't even think about. And when it happened in the film, I was like, oh, this is fresh, I think. I don't think it's happened.
Well, I don't think it has either. And here's the thing. That dude bangs a lot of women, even if he wears a condom. I think statistically, he's going to get some swimmers through.
Yeah.
But
and she was like, oh, it's not your kid. And it's like, man, y'all didn't take the time to CGI this kid's eyes blue to make me think that. That was a little distracting.
And that's another thing about this movie is if you had written out on paper, like James Bond has a kid, I would have thought like, what is this another like, and then his kid takes up the mantle of 007 blah studio bullcrap. No, they don't use the kid as a way to prolong the franchise, zombify it, put it in formaldehyde. They use it for character development of the protagonist. It's not some like stockholder informed decision of we have to keep this corpse shambling. We can get another 007. We don't have to do that. Let's do that to develop the emotions between the two leads.
Yeah.
It's I think the word for it is storytelling.
Plus the imagery of him like walking through those woods, like holding a kid, is like awesome. It's like, okay, this is like
so good.
This is like the stakes are way higher because it's a little kid, you know.
Yeah.
And
the kid wasn't annoying either. That's a good thing.
It was just a little kid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow they got it to be, or you know, I'm talking about like it's a pet, but they got it to be like quiet in scenes and stuff. I was like, oh, this is nice. But because one of my like least favorite things in movies are when the kid is just too annoying and I can't get over it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. But
a pet peeve for me in movies is when they use a kid as cheap emotional bait.
Oh yeah,
I can't do. I'll be honest. This is a controversial opinion. I don't like Grave of the Fireflies for that reason.
Oh well,
that's
fair. I mean, that's you.
That ticks some people off, but I'm like the little kid character, the younger sister, is too underdeveloped for me. It's like I know you're just using it as a plot point to manipulate my emotions, and it feels like lazy writing to me, which sounds terrible because so much of that movie that is very that's honestly one of my most controversial movie opinions. But I'll stand. That's my emotional reaction when I watch that movie. That. And I mean, and which sucks because I think that's such an important movie in so many other ways and absolutely worth watching. But that was my reaction. I've gotten into I've yelled, been in shouting matches with a girl I dated before about that opinion. But,
oh my God.
But we're not together anymore. Not over that, but also yes.
Well, no, but actually, yes. No, but I want to talk about some of the action sequences. The
they were epic in scale.
The forest sequence was like really cool with all the mist around them, and
and that was one of the I guess smaller in scale, but still took up a lot of screen time. It was very
I like when these Bond movies are smaller scale in places. So I'm like, this is tight.
Because then when it's bigger, it feels bigger.
Right, exactly.
Because we have that smaller forest encounter right before we get the big climactic, awesome, base assault. And that juxtaposition makes it feel bigger. Yeah. Again, important. Storytelling. That's what you do. You don't have to have a constant ramp up to like an action orgasm. You can pull back. You can take a moment. You can breathe. And this movie has a long runtime. Yeah. It's 2 hours, 40 minutes.
Yeah. You better have some breathing room. Damn. Which it does.
It does. And it's all worth it. I don't think there's much fat in this movie at all.
Well, I do feel like they tried to combine Blofeld's plot with Rami Malek's in ways that didn't completely meet up. And I feel like they had plans for like a different Spectre sequel that they try and just like tie it all in with this. But it works when it works, but there's a few places I was like, well, okay, I don't know
what doesn't work. I kind of know what you mean. Some of this stuff, and I feel like a lot of Bond movies and spy movies in general, especially in the first half of this movie, it kind of guilty of this. There's so many double crosses, it gets kind of convoluted. There's so much of this happens, but then he programs it to kill all of Spectre because all of Spectre is just in the same room together and can get wiped out like that.
Yeah.
Which for a giant criminal organization seems unintelligent, but it's a Bond movie, which you can kind of write shit off as like, it's a Bond movie, but also this movie does so well in so many other areas.
It does.
Some of the villain stuff, like it's worth criticizing. You should definitely see this movie in theaters on the biggest screen you can. Absolutely. But
I just feel like a lot of the first half of this movie is Blofeld related. So we don't get as much time with Rami Malek's character to have him be fully fleshed out to where he's not just he feels rather two-dimensional to me because I don't know any of his.
He's the biggest problem with this movie, which sucks. Blofeld, a lot of people criticize Blofeld in this incarnation as a character for having a weird like step sibling relation to Bond, which
Yeah.
people compared that to Dr. Evil and Austin Powers and Goldmember,
Yeah.
which is fair.
Which is fair.
Honestly, they should have had Lorne Michaels play Blofeld, because that was the inspiration for Dr. Evil. If you didn't know, Lorne Michaels, the SNL producer and creator. But and Christoph Waltz, he's a fantastic actor, so he does as well as an actor could with that character. Absolutely. But yeah, no, he's Blofeld. He kind of pops in, then he pops out, Yeah,
I was surprised. Yeah, he got killed off. I was like, whoa. Okay.
Killed off for real in the Hannibal Lecter chair.
Well, for a while, for a good amount of this movie, we see Rami Malek's character at the beginning in the 90s, even though Rami Malek's only in his 30s. So whatever,
I did think about that too. I was like, Rami Malek is about the same age as the Madeline actress.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up right now, actually, because she was a child in the prologue. She was born 85. He was born 81. He's 4 years older. He would be 10 and she'd be like 6.
I was weird. I was weirded out by that.
I kind of bought it as just kind of went, it's
other than that scene, I was like, is this guy going to be like a red herring? Because Blofeld has much more involvement with the plot so far. So I was like wondering what was going on with that. But then there's the old switcheroo, kill him off. And then he has that scene with her in therapy or whatever.
Right. Yeah. We pretty much get him at the beginning, which he doesn't really talk. He's just he's almost like a Jason.
Yeah.
Kind of villain, has a mask on, breaks in your.
That's definitely what it felt like.
Secluded cabin, which is good. I'm not saying you can't have that monster movie moment. And I enjoyed the hell out of this whole opening sequence, especially because it was explicitly talked about in Spectre because Madeline, she describes this happening to her, and then in the next movie you see it happen to her as a child. So it was set up well. Honestly, rewatching Spectre before this movie, if you haven't seen it since it came out,
I think.
Well, I would say it's pretty important. Even more important than rewatching like Casino Royale, Skyfall, or anything. But yeah, we had that one thing of him in therapy, and he wants revenge. But like, obviously he was already in the criminal underworld before, because the reason he wants revenge on Bond's lover is because her dad, a hitman, killed his family. Although I think he was a child at the time, so I guess he wasn't involved in criminal underworld. His family was, but still, he saves her almost kind of inexplicably. I guess he feels a pang of guilt, but then are you saving her just to prolong her life, to torture her more? Why, if you hated her so much, why did you kill her then? Why did you save her and then go back and then torture her and her lover and her child and just screw up their entire lives for that point? And then also, he had a very Bond villain monologue at the end. We're really getting to the end here. He was going to kill millions of people, and I could not understand why, other than just pure anarchy. He's evil. That really seemed to be it.
Why I wish we could have spent more time with him.
Yeah, because and that's my biggest complaint with the movie, and I think yours too.
Oh yeah, that's my biggest problem.
Yeah, that's really my only problem, but it's a significant one. It doesn't
very significant. No, but thankfully the rest of the movie kicks major ass.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm okay with having a villain with not a lot of screen time, but his especially because it's so focused on Bond's arc, but it's
he just lets the little kid like walk off, like what
he has this collateral. I guess he's just escaping, but he has this collateral of like, I'm the bad guy. I have this kid, and then she bites him, and he just lets her walk off because she bit. Like, dude, I've had a kid bite me before. I didn't like throw him down a culvert in a sewage like Soviet bunker like that guy did, that anybody knows about.
Yeah, that was kind of weird too. It's like y'all couldn't find a more clever way to get the kid reunited.
Yeah, even like the kid bites him and then she escapes. Like,
Yeah.
and down a ventilation shaft or something
Yeah.
that they couldn't fit in, which that sounds dumb, but it's probably better than just him being like, you bit me, get out of here, like you're a pet, like you're a cat that's like you scratch its belly too long and it bites you and you stop.
Yeah.
It felt a bit lazy, or they just didn't have time to flesh it out, because this is already almost 3-hour movie.
Yeah, I definitely if they could have added 10 minutes of like character focused shit with Rami Malek, I would have been fine with it being 3 hours. If it was if that time was just spent on developing his character and his plan more, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, even like 5 minutes. One good
Like,
scene.
give me something to grapple on, just
right.
But
because he felt like the archetype of a Bond villain, of just like megalomaniacal, wants to kill a bunch of people, rule the world. Not even rule the world is the thing.
I mean,
I'm not even sure where he got his henchmen.
Yeah,
that's another thing. He just has like Soviet or Japanese, this bunker on this island.
Well, he pays well, and we do get the fact that his father was doing this before him,
Right? So he has money and he pays. I think that's the main thing. He just pays he pays a bunch of goons to do his dirty work.
Yeah,
and he throws it all into revenge at Madeline and her lover, James Bond.
Yeah. And continuing the amount of shit that this Bond has to deal with and go through, and deals with actual loss. He loses one of the only people he considers like an actual friend.
Leiter?
I can't remember his character.
Leiter, huh? The CIA operative.
Yeah.
That dude's a freaking bro, man. He's been a bro since Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I love that character. And yeah, when he died, I felt it. I was like, screw these guys. Leiter's cool. Also, he's like the only American in the movie, so represent.
Yeah. And so I actually did feel that when he saw him like drift away and couldn't save him and stuff. I was like, wow.
Do you think it's funny that the only American operative is like slightly pudgier? Like not even really like chubby, but just a bit, like obviously a bit more. I don't know. The Brits are catching up with us in fatness if you look at the statistics, so it's all good.
I'm just glad dude shaved his head, because like in some of the movies, his hairline is just like, okay, dude, just go bald. It's all right. No one's gonna care.
Feel that.
You'll look good bald. But and he does look good bald.
He does.
But let's see. Yeah, so that had actual emotional weight to it, which is nice, because this is kind of scarce these days with blockbusters. I don't know. What else did you like about it?
I liked a lot of things. The action scenes were all immaculately directed, epic. I noticed one thing. This is one of the climactic scenes, but when he was going up the staircase and just shooting dudes left and right, that was all one take. But it was one of those single takes that didn't call attention to the fact that it was a single take.
Yeah.
It was done just to show the fluidity and the absolute struggle, and also the professionalism of Bond, because he's fully evolved. He's older at this point, but Craig's in his 50s, and he looks like it, to be honest. And he definitely has better abs than I do. I mean, by the fact that he has abs, but this is one of those things, like, what are the Hollywood trainers doing? What kind of blood magic do these stars do to keep these bodies this late into their life? But you have things like an amazing action sequence in the previous Spectre, Sam Mendes directed. We'll talk about the director in a minute, because this is his first blockbuster movie, and I haven't seen his other films, but I heard they're great and very somber and emotional.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't, but the Mexico City sequence that opens Spectre, which is grandiose, and it's a hell of a lot of fun and a visual spectacle, and that's all one take for the first 5 minutes of the movie or so. But that's one of those things with one takes. When I was in high school and kind of discovered that idea of the single take, the novelty of it impressed me. And it still impresses me that they're able to pull stuff like that off. But also, I'm kind of the point where this is cool. How does it add to the story? How does it add to the storytelling? And I think in this time it was just showing the struggle, but also just the choreography of that. Part of me as a film aficionado is just recognizing just the precision and the craft of things like choreography and stuff. Action scenes are it's almost like a musical or a dance, as cliche as that is.
Yeah.
So seeing him go up like that and it actually feel like it has emotional weight to it was great. Even a lot of the stuff in the opening action scenes in that Italian village were super cool, but they weren't anything groundbreaking. They were super cool. There's fan service with the Aston Martin and stuff. There was the moment where the guy kept, he's not going to shoot James Bond the first 10 minutes of the movie, but he kept shooting the window over and over and over.
Yeah.
How tense that was. But here's the thing, that's another character moment. Because he's doing it like an asshole boyfriend.
Petty. The craziest, pettiest thing you could possibly do in anything I've ever seen.
Dude, you're mad at your girlfriend, so you're just gonna make her nervous, hoping that your bulletproof window holds up under this guy.
This just means he's been in a situation where the bulletproof glass has been tested farther than this.
Yeah. Which shows you that's one thing. What do we see Bond do outside the movies? Because he's got to be on other assignments and stuff. Maybe not as big, but he's already a seasoned, has his license to kill in Casino Royale, and it's been years since then. He's been hanging out in the Bahamas or Latin America, wherever he is in the Caribbean, hanging out and drinking and sipping his government pension away. They fully double down on him being an alcoholic, which I actually enjoy. I say as I sip my beer, shaken, not stirred. Again, it's one of those things. The amount that James Bond drinks as a character is like, how are you able to do any of this?
Yeah, especially when I like the
romanticized, just in advertising and everything. And that's James Bond too. I have a question. Before your movie, did they have an advertisement for the watch he was wearing?
No.
Okay, in my movie, it's interesting. I think in Spain they definitely advertise other movies, but they also advertise products a lot, just like perfumes and stuff in theaters. Yeah, which is cool. But they would show clips from the movie, which then I started watching. I was like, I'm about to watch this movie, and like
I hate when that happens.
I'm not gonna watch it, so I look down. I saw a couple set pieces, but. And then it was like advertising the watch. Bah, bah, bah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the product placement in Bond somehow works though, because it is so over the top, luxurious, just scenery porn, going to monuments and da 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 da. And I don't care. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
But I love especially in a lot of the other Daniel Craig Bonds. Anytime he's in like a beautiful like coastline, beachy kind of like luxury European place, I'm like, damn, I can feel the breeze from here, man. Like
it does it has a good sense of place, and it feels truly international, which is great.
It's dazzling, it's stylish. That's what you want out of a super spy. Like you want it to be glamorous. Shit,
he's the guy. It is glamorous. And I don't want that to go away. I don't want it to go too gritty. I don't want it to go grittier than Casino Royale. Let me put it that way.
No. In fact, if it wasn't such a big trend to wink at the camera all the time, I wish they would go back to a campier, like set it like in the 60s or something. I don't know, but like I'm worried that they would be too self-aware with it and it wouldn't hit the right tone.
That's my problem. I'm cool with a campier Bond without winking at the camera. Just have it. We already know it's James Bond. It's in the freaking movie. Like they're calling him James Bond. You know it's James Bond. It's a super spy. You know it's ridiculous. You know a human being, no one human being's body can withstand that much punishment, getting shot multiple times. In my headcanon, he always has Kevlar lining in his clothes and stuff because he's James Bond. That's just me. But that I don't want winking at the camera Deadpool James Bond, but I'm okay with he has some one-liners in this. He has, but they're not really quippy. He has like with Mallory M, he says, have you gotten has the desk gotten bigger or have you gotten smaller? At the end of the conversation, he's like, I think the desk is the same size, or just to be like, you're smaller. But that's not really like hey, gotcha, one-liner. That's just him being a dry, limey bastard.
Also, it's good to see Bond directly confronting Mallory about this slimy shit involving the virus and stuff, and like being pissed off about it.
I feel like also this movie for me was a sign that I think I've not entirely, I've gotten over the worst of my coronavirus trauma, because it was a movie about viruses that didn't make
see
me
why
too
they
uncomfortable.
Postponed it.
Oh, I totally. As soon as I saw it was about bioweapons, I was like, "Oh, I get why they postponed this." Jesus Christ! It's like they were like, "We are postponing this till we get a vaccine." There's no way. But the no, that was one of those things that I don't know, it was kind of nice for me. It was weirdly healing in a way to be able to watch a movie about viruses and not, because even I had played, it's not even the best game in the world, Prototype 2 a few months ago, like before the summer, like before I'd gotten vaxxed. And there's zombies, mutants, whatever in it, and it's viruses and stuff. And that made me kind of uncomfortable playing it at least the beginning. And it was like, okay, now we can kind of get back into, I think we'll still not see full on bioweapon pandemic movies anytime soon, but I do feel like it was weirdly convalescent, not only for people to go back to the cinema to see a Bond movie, but I think even on maybe even on a more subconscious level, to see a movie with this sort of plot and to see Bond defeat the virus. And maybe I'm leaning too much into it. This is a HuffPost article that I'm writing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
That was nice. I do like gadgets. I like gadgets in Bond. I'm totally cool. Mission Impossible does that some too, but where he had the magnet suit, the Russian guy.
Oh yeah, and we didn't get much gadget wise in the first couple Craig Bonds, and then Spectre, they kind of brought that back, and this one more so than ever.
I like it. I like the gadgets.
I'm cool with it.
I'm totally cool with it.
But I also like in Skyfall how Q is like, man, we don't do exploding pins anymore, this and that. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense for the time.
Yeah, but you do exploding launch and also I know the whole point of Casino Royale and all this, it's a post 9/11 Bond. Right. If you really want to dig into it, that's what this is. I mean, you have the infamous chair testicle torture scene in the first Bond,
which is incredible.
That is straight up Benghazi, Abu Ghraib sort of stuff. Because when you have so many images of real torture in the media, having somebody, sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads seems a little ridiculous. And hell, it is weird. Just as Daniel Craig's Bond, it started as a response to the war on terror, at least somewhat. And now we're getting this coming out after we've pulled out of
Afghanistan,
and the timing is weirdly providential, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure they didn't plan that because they got delayed to the pandemic. I'm sure they weren't like, we're going to release this last Bond movie after the Taliban take over Afghanistan. I'm sure that wasn't it, but I don't know. There's something.
It's definitely interesting,
circular about it.
Yeah. So which Bond?
God, I hate U.S. foreign policy. Sorry, go on.
Which Bond villain of the Craig Bonds did you like the most?
Ooh, I didn't see Quantum of Solace.
Well, Green is easily the weakest of the Bond. Yeah. Guys.
Silva was pretty good, or Mads. Mads was pretty. What's his name? I've seen this movie like 5, 6.
Is it Lashif?
Yeah, Lashif.
Yeah, Lashif. And here's the thing about Lashif. They say there's a throwaway line that he's Albanian. Bro does not look Albanian in the slightest.
No, he's Danish.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, and I was like,
that's Northern Europe and Southern Europe.
Yeah, I was like, as an Albanian, this is like a rare moment because there's not a lot of Albanian characters in movies.
No, there's not a lot of Albanian representation. I was like, dude,
this guy looks like the opposite.
Most Americans don't know Albania. Most probably haven't heard of Kosovo.
In fact, fucking the Taken movie did a whole detriment like to Albanians by making the villains the sex traffickers Albanian. So now suburban moms equate, trafficking with dirty Albanians like me.
That is something that is something I think about with also people. I talk about Albania like it's the Middle East. It's on the freaking Mediterranean. It has a Mediterranean climate. I bet if you went to the beach there, it would be amazing. You could get a cocktail and eat olives and be have a great time.
Xenophobia and Islamophobia do to a person.
Right. And you've talked about in your family, we don't have to go into this, but like they've been victims of a lot of Islamophobia.
Thanks, Taken.
Yeah.
The thing about Quantum of Solace is that it's very much it's so late 2000s that the whole villain thing is about going green and shit, and like how it's a fake, he's not after oil, he's after something else. It's like
he's after water, right? He's trying to control
he's
the
after water.
Supply.
Yeah, and
it's weird. Like, one of the reasons also I haven't seen Quantum of Solace is because I walked in on my parents watching it and saw the last 10 minutes of the movie, which kind of, you can enjoy the rest of the movie, but it is a bit, I've already seen how it ends. Of course, James Bond wins. It's not like, James Bond dies in the second movie and then the villain wins forever. That's not going to happen.
But so which one did you decide is your favorite villain?
Probably Lashif.
Yeah.
Silva's probably because he does have simple. He what?
You were too close to the mic.
Sorry. Probably Lashif. Sorry.
Yeah. Lashif is good. I just kind of wish he could have carried over to Quantum of Solace, and I feel like that would have been like awesome as fuck.
Yeah,
he just
he was too busy pre-planning Death Stranding, man.
I get the impact of just being shot out of nowhere. It's like, oh fuck, he's dead. That's cool. But like, I'm gonna have to go with Javier Bardem because I just like the menacing shit he says to Judi Dench, and like how casually he just puts the Bond girl up to like with the shot glass on her head and stuff. Like that's fucked up.
It is.
And he like
fucked up Spanish
pulls his teeth out and shit. That's like classic villain shit to me.
He's up there, and I haven't seen Quantum of Solace, or not Quantum of Solace. I haven't seen Casino Royale in years, so I might, if I rewatch it, which I probably will.
No, Lashif is good. He's a great and anyone, whoever came up with the idea to have him slap James Bond in the nuts with rope as like a form of torture they need, like, hopefully they got paid, because that's the shit.
Yeah,
that's like one of the most brutal scenes I've ever seen, and that's a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
like, and never do I just like look away and like feel a feeling in my gut like that. Because like
because it's something you can actually imagine. Because we've both been hit in the nuts, not with like giant boulders, but we felt it. I've never had a laser burn me or a buzzsaw inching toward my face.
Yeah.
So it's a enhanced, more painful experience of something I actually can relate to.
Yeah.
Women, I don't know how they'll relate to that scene.
Yeah.
Just trust us.
Good thing this movie is only for men and men only, and men should only watch it. But my mom loves James Bond movies. She wanted to see it. I might see it with her sometime.
Yeah, because your mom's not a good feminist, all right?
Oh yeah, but
get out the way.
But I did like, of course, I liked Rami Malek when he was on screen.
His performance was excellent, as expected, because he's an excellent actor.
Oh yeah.
But it's the script. He elevated his character for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the script didn't give him, even when, because I did a bit of like wikiing after seeing the movie on the train rides home, just to kind of put it together in my head, because I knew I had this podcast today. I saw it last night, got home at midnight. Had to calm myself down to get into bed because I was like thinking about it and excited from seeing it. But he elevates the character, but it's really, that's the problem. And his monologue at the end, I was looking at it kind of just on the James Bond wiki, and it sounds cool when he says it. It doesn't make any sense. He says some stuff about people who live and people don't really want freedom. They want to be lit. How's killing 2 million people or whatever going to help you do that? Although I do like he did try a "You're Not So Different, You and I." I'm into that.
You are?
Yeah, that he did that. I don't know. It just felt fitting for the last Bond. I was like, all right, we'll have him do that.
Yeah, I get it. And yeah, I knew, and because it's that kind of movie, I knew when he opened the silo that it would like close again and he'd have to like do it again and all that. And I was like, as soon as I saw the whole silo shit, I was like, okay, he's gonna get trapped in here and he's gonna sacrifice himself. And sure enough, that's what happened. Very well. Course. Yeah, very.
But it's well done.
Yeah. Thematically, it makes sense, and that's what matters most. And so they killed off Bond, and I saw a lot of people fucking pissed off about it. They're like, why would you do that? It's like, dude,
were they mad? There'll be another Bond.
Some people, like, general audiences.
Are you talking about on the internet or in real life?
Non-patricians.
Are you talking about the internet or real life?
Internet.
Okay, then yeah, they don't matter.
Well, yeah. They don't matter at all.
I mean, I'm saying that as we're on the internet, but
yeah, I know. It was just really funny because, like, it was like, dude, go watch the 24 other Bonds where he doesn't die and you'll be fine. Like, it's not a big deal, dude.
It's not a big deal.
It made sense. Like, if we're not going to ever use Daniel Craig again for Bond, then why are you so pressed?
Yeah. Do you want us to like arbitrarily bring him back as a Force Ghost and then Force Ghost Daniel Craig Bond in the next movie?
Yeah.
Mentor the next Bond.
Now he'll be no, that'd be stupid. I want a completely just different universe.
I bet, dude, that's one thing. I bet Bond would be terrible in an office job. If he was just trying to like go to meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
You just see him like on edge, not able to do anything.
Now, the director, Cary Fukunaga, I've not seen. I haven't seen his.
Have
movies.
You or have you not?
I haven't seen his movies like Beast of No Nation. And he famously directed season 1 of True Detective, which I heard is like one of the best seasons of TV of all time.
Yeah.
Because the other 2 seasons it's like an anthology thing. So like you can watch season 1 and not have to go further because it's its own story, which is a popular thing to do these days, which I'm down with. I need to finally give it a chance after Sumner begging me to watch it for years. But what I have seen is his limited series on Netflix called Maniac, which is Jonah Hill and Emma Stone.
You told me about that. You said it's one of the most Kino series you've ever seen.
Well, I feel like it could be polarizing, but I really enjoyed it. I like those two and their chemistry together. And I like the art direction and what he was going for. And I need to rewatch it because I think it's definitely one of the better Netflix originals. It's like that and like Haunting of Hill House and like Squid Game are like the 3 like most like Kino actually like worth a damn things on Netflix.
Not just designed solely to keep you watching Netflix.
Right.
As a carrot and stick.
I knew going in that he would be able to pull off a Bond, even though there's more problems with this than there are in like some of the other ones, like Skyfall and Casino Royale are pretty
are lean,
pretty airtight. Yeah.
But there's
the high like as the big finale.
Highs in this are so high that the valleys don't seem that low.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. So I'm happy the way it turned out. It was when we were at the theater and like the logo came on for the film and I was like, wow, this is the 5th one today. All right, let's go. It felt really weird to say. Everyone was like, I'll rock on, dude.
I feel like it's a testament to the quality of this movie that you weren't burnt out, but you're also
that's what I was worried about actually going into the movie theater. I was like, man, I hope this doesn't affect how I feel about this movie because I just watched 4 others, but it didn't. It was like I feel like if it was less serialized, I could have been burnt out more. But thankfully, since it ties shit in. It has characters from
Yeah,
other
and
movies.
it's pretty light serialization.
Yeah.
This one has the most of it, but
Yeah.
You don't have to see the others.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend anyone watching this watch at least Spectre before going to see this, and you'll get more enjoyment out of it.
For sure.
Out of the Craig Bonds, Skyfall is my favorite. It was close. It's pretty close with Casino Royale, but I just I like where Skyfall goes. One, it's one of the most beautifully shot blockbusters of all time. Very atmospheric. Two, I love how small scale it ends up, where it's just them at that house in Scotland.
It feels huge scale visually, but at the same time, it's small scale because it's like 8 people.
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit! You get a little bit about you get a little bit about Bond and his backstory, just enough to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not too much. There's still mystique. There's arguably too much in Spectre. I do like specifically, I remember this moment in theaters where he was setting up all the traps at the end of Skyfall, and you and I looked at each other at the exact same time and said, this is Home Alone. We're watching Home Alone right now.
Which is cool. I love that sequence.
It's so good.
And I think Skyfall has everything I want in a spy movie like that. The beginning has him like falling to what you think is his death. And it's like, oh, he's starting from the bottom in this movie and he has to work his way back up. I like that when we see our heroes do that. And like one of the better things about The Dark Knight Rises, and then you got The Last Jedi, and stuff. I like to see.
Of course.
Sorry, I like to see vulnerable heroes. People.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see some of that with Matrix 4.
Yeah.
Whatever that's gonna be.
What? Neo is not an unstoppable Goku god? I'm fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
But so
who would want to fight, James Bond or Goku?
The meme I got tired of is Batman with prep, 30 minutes of prep. Like, I'm tired of hearing that joke. That's
still true though.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's kind of true.
But no time. If I had to rank them, which I have,
which you have, so let's hear it.
I enjoyed Skyfall, and then Casino Royale, then No Time to Die, then Spectre, then Quantum of Solace. And that's but I as a whole think it's one of the better franchises out there right now.
Yeah, for sure. There's a reason less, and I would probably have. I need to rewatch Casino Royale. But I would probably have the same ranking or similar. I don't know where I'd put Casino
Most people
Royale.
like Casino Royale the best, but Skyfall just does everything I want out of.
And it does look so good.
It looks so good.
We're coming at that from the kind of film nerd, and I think that's a pretty standard ranking. People consider it to be Casino Royale, Skyfall, then probably this Spectre. And then Quantum of Solace. Because Quantum of Solace, we'll also mention very quick, got screwed over by the writer's strike back in the late 2000s a bit.
It was only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, shortest Bond, most violent Bond.
Yeah, it's Quantum of Solace has some good action. That was back during when the popular thing to do was a lot of fast cuts with action. But
like with Bourne Ultimatum and stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't it doesn't take away from the film. It's actually well done in Quantum of Solace, so that's a plus. And then him like trying to get revenge over the people Vesper. That killed Vesper, basically, and like you get to see him like decide to or to not seek revenge and like try to get over that and stuff. But
so we talked about a little bit. Where does Bond go from here?
What
do you want to see, and what do you think would be good for audiences?
Well, I talked to some people. I was like, well, what about a Henry Cavill Bond? They all booed me, but I thought it was a good idea. But I don't know. I want it, if they're gonna keep it present day. Man, I don't really know. There's a lot of different
Okay.
directions.
Do you not want to keep it present? Because I think that's honestly not a bad way to go. Is to go kind of a.
I don't want them to keep it present day. I want them to go back in time for a little while.
Do you want it to go like Cold War era?
That can be cool.
60s, 70s, 80s. What are we thinking?
Yeah.
There is something nice to before having a spy movie before the internet. Because the internet, I mean, and smartphones and cell phones in general, trivializes a lot of plot lines. It does. It just does.
Yeah.
I know there's been sketch videos from College Humor of like this movie is cell phones that were invented, blah blah blah. But it's true, which is part of the thing of this. Again, we're in a cyber warfare sort of thing. Part of the entire thematic crust of these movies is how boots on the ground soldiers are outdated. What were you about to say?
Oh yeah, I was saying we'll do we'll have it 60s, but it'll be all future, all timeline where he's like a Soviet spy, and like there's like some like children are like having telepathic abilities and shit, and like he has to deal with that, and like there's like nuclear fallout in like one part of the world. I don't know. I'm just coming up with shit.
Okay.
No, but
well, that's one idea.
I was gonna say now they got to take it to space like Fast 9, but they already did that.
Didn't they already did that with Moonraker?
Yeah, Moonraper. Yeah, which is a G.A. and Silent Bob joke.
Okay.
Starring Ben Affleck, but yeah.
I don't know. I would like I would be okay with the retrofuturistic or alt history Bond. I think that'd be a good way to go. I don't know if they'll do that. Because how many, I feel like seeing one or two Bonds that way would be cool. Would I want 5 Bond movies? And also, do I want 5 Bond movies spanning 15 years with the same Bond necessarily? Because I'll be honest, I think Daniel Craig is a great actor, and I think he did a great job as Bond and really made it his own and a very different type of Bond. But I don't know if we need the same actor doing Bond for that long of time.
Sure.
10 years or maybe even 8 years, like a president. I don't know.
Depends on the president.
Well, yeah. We're both real sad that Trump didn't get reelected.
It was kind of strange that it took so long to get this one. Like the last one was 2015. Yeah. Well, I guess it was supposed to go out in 2019, fall 2019.
That's the thing. Delayed the hell. Which I do wonder how much added on to the budget delaying this movie. Because
shit, that's a good question.
I mean, it's multiple millions.
Yeah, for sure.
They'll make it back, but
they will. But I'm also very surprised. It made 30 million less than Venom did in its first weekend. I was like, wow, I did not expect Venom to do these numbers.
I think word of mouth and that, although the fact that
I legit think that because I think the ending credits scene for Venom 2, like so many people immediately started talking about it the first or second day that it came out, like that intrigued people enough to go see it.
Maybe
because a lot of like I saw it leaked on TikTok and stuff. Like I can't, like someone just filming on their phone and stuff in the theater. I was like, whoa.
Internationally and worldwide,
I'm just talking about America.
I know. Okay, well, yeah, Bond's doing better. Also, Bond's not an American film.
Well,
not American. Well,
it is, but
it is, but it isn't. It is weird. Isn't it odd that this entire art form is centralized in like one city? Can you imagine if all painters just lived and worked in one city or something? It's so weird. Which is why it needs a collapse. We've talked about that before. So Bond.
I think maybe we should just put Bond to rest because I feel like we give the British too much power.
After Brexit for revenge, I think we need to let Bond stay dead. Okay. Because they screwed over the EU and they screwed over themselves. Honestly, the last scene of this should have been Bond dying by shooting himself in the foot as a metaphor for Brexit.
Yeah, brilliant.
Bloody brilliant.
Anyway, I guess that wraps shit up for old No Time to Die. Old
No time
Daniel
to
Craig.
buy a ticket.
Buy this brand new merchandise. I've seen ads for him for James Bond drinking like Heineken, I think Heineken beer. I'm like, he doesn't drink beer. I guess maybe in like one scene.
No, dude, Heineken that's like middle class swill. Don't drink that. I like a good Heineken now and then.
There was I'm trying to remember what it was. Rocco Bodie from Mega 64 was talking about in the Matrix sequels, there was like these random ads where like some off-brand Agent Smith was like drinking something. I can't remember what it was, but he said
Yeah,
like
I remember this.
He said like that they only aired before those movies, and it's really strange product like placement, and because I don't remember what it was, but anyway, that's our No Time to Die cast. I think me and Casher later this week. Anyone else is invited to come on and talk, but we're going to talk about Squid Game, which is obviously the biggest show in the world right now, and I had to convince myself to quit being a stupid contrarian and just try it out. And I enjoyed it, watched all of it. We're going to talk about that, and then Muppets Haunted Mansion, two equally Kino properties. So look out for that. Anything else you want to say, Scott?
Nope. I'm sexy. That's it.
Welcome to the Gun Show, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.